Welcome guys, we've had the Hungarian Grand Prix and what a race we got. That was intense all the way through to the end. What a race. The fight is on in the championship. What a race. I mean, I'm exhausted watching it. Them drivers must have been absolutely knackered after that one. Let's just jump through the key moments in the race. And it was a start and we thought, oh, anything could happen here. Charles Leclerc with a brilliant start and a brilliant first stint from him. Lando Norris with a horrendous start. He got penned in, went into the inside to Oscar. A good start actually, right up alongside Piastri, but then got penned in. Didn't quite make it alongside Piastri when it went for the inside, and that let Russell and Fernando Alonso start, and it dropped him down to 5th place. And I thought, this is not going to look good for his championship at all. I mean, at best, he was looking at 3rd, 4th place from there as a recovery. And when he crucially got past Fernando Alonso by lap 3 and then got up to George Russell, but just couldn't quite make the move on George at all. And then we got, up ahead, crucially, Charles Leclerc keeping Oscar Piastri ahead. He was at a comfortable 2-3 second gap. Piastri went for the undercut on Leclerc, and yeah, it didn't really work. Leclerc got out ahead of him after that first stop, and then the battle was on between the two of them. It looked like Lando Norris though went for the one stop, probably because of where he ended up at the end of lap 1, and just needed that to sort of get past George Russell. Russell went for the 2 stop as well. His battle was really looking at trying to keep and try and make a move on one, either Leclerc or Piastri, or even just thinking to keep Lando Norris behind. But Norris's stint in after that he put on them hard was absolutely brilliant. I thought he might have taken too much of his tyres out because he was absolutely flying, plumping up fastest laps when he had them fresh tyres, and I thought he's got a fine balance to make here. And it was, one of them middle stints where you thought this is going to be absolutely crucial. One of them, world championship Michael Schumacher-esque middle stints that he needed to, tyre management, but have really good pace. And he absolutely managed that. It was brilliant from him. We got that move on lap 30 then we got with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton under investigation. Hamilton went wide to avoid a collision. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. There is going to be an investigation complete at the end of the race, so we'll see what comes of that. At lap 41 then Charles Leclerc pit. He had 9 lap gap or 9 lap difference to Norris on his tyres, and I thought, does he need to have more than that to try and help him keep or catch Norris? But then as soon as that second boot of tyres went on to Charles Leclerc, he just seemed to lose all pace. Did come on to say, look, if this is the way we were going to do this, we could have managed these issues better than what you've said. He was fuming. He said lucky to keep onto the podium, and yeah, sadly missed out on that. Norris, his pace was mega though. Even with them 9 lap older tyres, he was extending the stint on Charles Leclerc. Piastri got the move on Charles Leclerc pretty quickly as soon as he got into that DRS on him. Lap 51, and then it was a straight 19 lap battle between the two McLarens. Oscar Piastri with his pace was absolutely brilliant, and he pitted even longer than Leclerc, another 6 laps, so he had about 15 lap tyre deficit to Lando Norris. And once he got past Leclerc quickly, which was crucial for him in that middle race there, it was like, anybody could, before that, I mean, it was just down to them two, but before that, it was anybody could win it. Piastri could he have done the undercut on Leclerc and got ahead of him? They didn't really quite do that for the second stop. Leclerc could have won if he had his pace. That didn't seem to come to fruition. And Lando Norris, he just had to make them tyres work to the end. And boy, did he do a job. And it's just so intense closing up. It was getting closer and closer, 4 laps to go. And then, as Piastri got into the dirty air of Lando Norris, just couldn't quite get onto the back of Lando Norris, could Oscar Piastri. And it was a middle stint where he was taking the 4 or 5 tenths out of Norris, but he seemed to have lost that as soon as he got into the dirty air. And coming out of that last corner, the traction and the boost of the ERS and everything like that, and the battery pack, Norris kept that really, really well, and that really helped him in his defence. Absolutely mega drive. At one point you just didn't see Norris taking the win from there, but once he's shown that pace when he came out on them hard tyres, you thought, oof, he's right in there for the win. And I genuinely at that point I didn't think he'd be able to hold on with them older tyres, especially with the 15 lap older tyres to Piastri. I just didn't think he'd be able to do it, but what an absolute drive he pulled off. Absolutely brilliant racing. Let's jump to the 3 good and the 3 bad, and I'm starting with the first of them, my driver of the day, Lando Norris. What a drive. Like I said, a mega stint. That stint, like I said, championship drive, Michael Schumacher-esque, tyre management and pace, and that was crucial because he was even, you know, as Piastri was getting up and closing on LeClercs, he was making a bit of an advantage on him with all the tyres, but then once Piastri got clear of him, you know, it was really qualifying laps from the pair of them. A small mistake, lap 38 from Norris, and you thought, could this be, you know, he like we've seen in Belgium where he was, you know, making them little mistakes. That was the only one he made, crucially, and that meant, you know, a clean race from there was absolutely crucial for him, and the fight is on in the championship because it's now just down to 8 points, which was absolutely crucial for Lando Norris because it looks like it's a clear battle between the 2 McLaren guys up top, and you can't pick anything between them. It comes down to strategy, really. Oscar sort of questioning whether it was the right call for him to undercut and think about Charles Leclerc. Should he have really been thinking more about Lando Norris? Every time he came on the radio, Piastri was sort of like, yeah, no, we need to just, like, as long as I stay ahead of Norris, not really too worried about the Ferraris. But the team called him in, and they seemed to think, you know, the fight was really with Leclerc for the win. And I guess it probably was when you looked at Leclerc's first stint. He was brilliant, Charles Leclerc, in that Ferrari, and I don't think anyone could have seen the Ferrari just sort of lose 2 seconds a lap when they put on them hard tyres. And you know, in hindsight, yes, they made the wrong call, but when it came, you know, one stop, Norris really only did that because he had absolutely nothing to lose, and a really poor lap 1 meant he had this position where he went for this one stop, and it worked absolutely brilliantly. What a drive to hold on for that win, so close at the end. Norris, Piastri locking up, nearly took the pair of them out. George Russell in the cool down room was I was really wishing you'd T-bone him and he'd nick the win there, but yeah, what a drive, absolutely fantastic, mega drive, crucial in his championship, and he goes into the summer break now with just 8 points, and he'd head to Zandvoort, and I think it'll be battle on again between the 2 McLarens there. So hats off to Norris, a fantastic job from him. Second of the 3 good, I'm going for George Russell because he, again, like Norris, put in some brilliant qualifying laps to get in and nick that P3. I mean, him, like Piastri, probably didn't see Charles Leclerc dropping off as much as he did, but again, it was qualifying laps when he put on his hards for that last stint and really just combed in, made the move on Charles Leclerc. I mean, Leclerc did get a penalty for the defence on that, but George getting, you know, like we usually see, really angry over the radio on the defence on that. I thought it was a bit, I've seen it before and no penalties given, so interesting to see that Leclerc did get a penalty for that. But George Russell for Mercedes on the podium, I think that's an absolutely brilliant job from him, well done, and he can go in with some positives after that one. Third of the 3 good, I'm going for Fernando Alonso with a P5. It was a great start from him, and then from there on, a great strategy, him just holding everybody up. You know, I thought Vstappen looked really quick at one point, and he went for the 2-stop, and I thought, you know, he might be a little bit of a sitting duck towards the end, but Fernando went super long on that first stint, and that really paid off for him, and a brilliant P5 from him. The master again pulled it off. It was so good to see. I mean, where has this pace come from? They were absolutely nowhere in Belgium, and they've been brilliant here this weekend. Hats off to him at the third of the 3 good. I'm going to give a couple of shout outs though. So the first of is Gabriel Bortoleto with a P6, a great drive from him. What a guy. I mean, this guy, a rookie, he's come on strong, hasn't he? We've seen some dips and not so great performances, but he's really shone out in the last couple of races, picked up points last time, and a great points for him and the team this time out. That battle between them and the Williams now looks really on, with the Williams picking up 0 points this weekend. So hats off to him. And Kimi Antonelli as well, who's really struggled in that Mercedes, made up P5 places from P15 and got a point in the end. So a really good job from him. On to the 3 bad, and I'm starting with Max Verstappen, the first of them, a P9. Not often do you see him qualify low down in 8 and then lose place and come back slower than where he'd finished. I mean, he looked really quick at one point. Great moves early doors on Liam Lawson, and then took a surprise move on Lance Stroll, and you thought he'd be right in there with that battle for P4, not P4, P6, P5 really, but then his pace dropped off, got stuck behind Liam Lawson, couldn't make the move on him. And it's really shocking to see where that pace has gone. He's struggled here in that car all weekend, and they'll be hoping that he can, get their act together, because they go to his home race next where he's won every time they've been there. But with the car that they've got at the moment, and is a shutdown over the summer break, so it's not really like they can bring big amount of upgrades for Zandvoort, where because the factory's shut, it's a full shutdown for a couple of weeks, so we're not really expecting to see mad upgrades that they can really turn things around. So I'll be hoping that the car just suits them there next time out. The second of the 3 bad, I'm going for the Alpine outfit, both 18th and 19th place, a car where they've just struggled. They had no pace at all, and genuinely I thought they'd do well round here, because it's not down to the power unit, it's how the car performs on track, and I thought they'd do better than they did in Belgium. Gasly's ragged that car around to get a P10 last time, but for both to finish 18th and 19th, really poor. Bad start from Franco Colapinto, lost 4 places right at the start. He was P18 and then never really moved off from there, but Gasly as well, really, really poor from him. And the third of the 3 bad, surprisingly, I'm going for Charles Leclerc, because his first stint was absolutely incredible, and you thought the win is on for Ferrari, and it was going to be a surprise win really, where you looked at where they were. It looked be comfortably slower than the McLarens, but the start and the first stint was mega. Looked like he was right in there for the win. Looked like he'd covered off Oscar Piastri with that stop 1 lap later than Oscar, and you thought, that 1 lap fresher tyres might help him out. But where that pace went, what was the issue? I mean, 2 seconds a lap slower was absolutely incredible. If it wasn't such a spread out field in and behind, because of Fernando going so slow with his super long first 1-stop strategy, he would have been way much further down than he actually ended up. But he got a 5-second penalty as well for his defence on Lance Stroll. So a horrible race for him, and he'd be scratching his head thinking, it could have gone in with a massive, huge win if he'd pulled it off. And it really did look on for at least the first half of the race, and it just went absolutely sour from there onwards. So a lot of head scratching going on in Ferrari. What is this real issue that they have? They seem to be slower or carrying something where they need to manage that car towards the second half of the race, which is really not good enough. Everyone else is. You see the McLarens pumping out flat out every single lap for the last 20 laps, and Ferrari are there having to manage and get these cars home. We've seen Lewis Hamilton having to do a lot of lift and coast in Belgium also, which meant he couldn't pass Alex Albon, and Leclerc here, really it's cost him a victory in the end. So massively disappointing after a great pole position from him. He was fuming on the radio, because he said, the way we've managed this, it's cost me a podium, and it did, because he definitely deserved it. At worst, he was 3rd best with the way it's gone all weekend. He was fast 3rd in all of the 3 practice sessions. The Ferrari looked strong. A surprise pole and that early pace, lost for words really for Ferrari. Not really sure what's gone on there. And there we have it. That's the Hungarian Grand Prix. Let me know your thoughts on the race. Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant race. Well done to Lando Norris. A brilliant drive for him in this championship. Stole the win, really. For all the world, it looked like at most it'd be Leclerc and Piastri on that top step, but he came out of nowhere with that one stop, and that strategy and that stint was absolutely perfect. Pretty much like I said, just that one mistake, lap 38 wasn't too big a mistake really either, so you know, really worked on and the issues that we've sort of talked about in Belgium, and he's come home strong, and this championship and the fight really is on. I can't wait for the way this is going to pan out for the rest of the season. Zandvoort is where we head next towards the end of August. I really can't wait for the action to get going. It's a shame that we've got a 3-week break after we had a couple of weeks before this. Well, we had 1 week before this Belgium, but we had a bit of a break before Belgium, didn't we? So, yeah, just needs to be coming thick and fast. The action is brilliant. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on the race. Do you agree? I've heard some people find this one boring. I'm not really sure where they got that one from. This was, for me, was Formula 1 at its finest. Thankfully, there was no safety cars and no rain at the end. We got to see the strategies just play out, and a head-to-head battle with Oscar and Norris won out with a brilliant drive from me. But there we have it. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. As always, see you on the next one.